Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Amy Matysio. I'm a member of the ACTRA Toronto Executive Council, and I will be your moderator today. I also had the pleasure of joining our IPA bargaining team through the wages and working conditions phase, and was it ever eye-opening? I am very grateful and very privileged that I was able to get a look at what's at stake in this year of bargaining, a monumental year, and also to get a sense of just how big this process is. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our panelists. How lucky am I? Tantoo Cardinal, multi-award winning actor, a member of the Order of Canada, the 2017 Earl Grey Award recipient, a Governor General's Performing Arts Award recipient, and most importantly to us, the 2015 ACTRA Toronto Award of Excellence recipient, and so much more. A true icon. ACTRA Award, Canadian Screen Award, and Gemini Award winning actor Shawn Doyle, whom we've all had the pleasure of seeing on stage and in numerous acclaimed films and TV series, both here and across the border. Dora and Canadian Screen Award nominated actor Kevin Hanchard, who we all know from his work on Orphan Black, which is really special that Tatiana is here today as well as his current role on Hudson and Rex, among a long list of notable performances. And finally, ACTRA Award, Emmy Award, and Canadian Screen Award-winning actor Tatiana Maslany, beloved for her many amazing performances on Orphan Black, as well as a long parade of knockout roles, and also my dear friend. So welcome, Tatiana, Kevin, Shawn, and Tantoo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to have this very important discussion. Following the actors and writers' strikes last year in the US, we knew that there would be a lot at stake in this year's negotiation of ACTRA's Independent Production Agreement, or the IPA. If you want to learn more about the IPA, including what it covers and the process of bargaining, please visit our IPA bargaining page on the ACTRA Toronto website. At stake in this year's round of negotiations is everything from minimum rates, residual models, and the threat of AI, DEIB issues, and so much more. Here we are, in a position where our IPA bargaining team feels we may need to call for a strike authorization vote, which is what we are here today to talk about. And we want to help everyone understand what it is, why it's important, and how they can get involved. Let's get started. All right, the first question I would love to throw out is, when you hear the term strike authorization mandate, how does that make you feel? What does it immediately sort of make you think of as a performer? And I'll just throw it to anyone.
Well, I would say one of the first things that makes me feel is a sense of communal galvanizing force, that we're at a point where we need to show that we're completely in lockstep in how we need to move forward. And there's also a fear around it too, because you're really jumping off a cliff. Once you make that commitment, then we don't know where it's going to go. The only thing we can be certain of is that we're all in solidarity and that we're there to support the team in making the right decision for all of us. And we believe that they will make the right decision for us.
Exactly. That's how I felt when I heard about the idea, having just come through this huge, long, difficult strike that was happening here in LA. This is where I am right now. The writer's strike and the actor's strike, and no one knew that it was going to go on for so long. And the solidarity that was developed and established between these forces, these very, very important forces that really need to have respect and a realization of how fundamentally important their crafts and their art and their contributions are to all that we do. And it's what I saw during the course of that time is that solidarity, that gelling, that respect for each other and the coming together. And on the picket lines, to see everyone that is a part of this, people that aren't getting on the main screens. And, particularly the writers is just fascinating. Like, wow, it's like visiting the underworld because you don't ever see writers, right? And it's to say that there's this surge of actors, actors, look at us, look at you. You keep on going, you keep on standing, you keep on moving through. And we hear about the millionaires, the people who make so much money on our industry, and then the rest of us are wearing that. People are expecting that we're millionaires. And I would like to say to people, when they're paying, the production is paying millionaires, what does that leave for the rest of us? It's not the same deal whatsoever. So, and the incredible strength and power that it took for the bargaining team to hang in there and to stick with what was necessary to walk out with any terms of success. The bargaining team has our back. They know every detail of each and every echelon of actor, of artist that's involved and what they're dealing with. And it's such a complex world nowadays, with AI and minimum rates have been behind for a long, long time. And so they've really got their work cut out in front of them. And it's a difficult decision to make, to go ahead and give it up. And it's, in my world, it's as important as healthcare, it is.
Thank you for that. I'll just add before Tat and Kevin, I think one of the most important things about the strike is it really reflected us. It really gave us our story on the world stage. And it turned the empathy on the entire audience, the audiences who are used to watching us, but now they're watching the performers, the writers out there on the line, still working towards, pushing against the employer to make sure they can keep showing up for the job that the audiences really need us to show up for. So that collective action was the real timedness of it, how it was actually working at such a powerful level, like an engine in this industry was so, I don't think any of us will forget it for quite a while, the past few years. Kevin, Tatiana?
Yeah, I think it also, when I hear those words, I think of the fact that art, the work that we do is labor, and that can be something that gets forgotten or gets dismissed as, like there's so many ways that artists get denigrated in terms of like, you should just be so grateful that you get a job, you should be grateful for whatever you get. And something about like that power of like naming, no, we're not satisfied with this. And like, there are so many people who are falling by the wayside. There are so many people who, like Tantoo was saying, like have lost their health care. Lots of actors I knew who worked for decades lost their health care. And that during that strike, that was one of the things that we were fighting for so strongly, was like, how can that happen to somebody who's got this long career, who's a working actor, who's done, who you might not recognize, but you've seen in all of these things, and they can't make ends meet. They lose their apartments, they lose, all of these things. you realize how much this is like a labor issue and not whatever other stuff you can kind of put on actors.
Anyway, when I hear those words, I think of inevitability and civic responsibility. You know, that have happened south of the border, and the ones that have happened here as well. And we've seen this locomotive moving towards us. We've seen the smoke on the horizon, and now it's getting closer and closer. And now it's our time to step up. We know that we have a galvanized team on the other side of us. We know that in order to make progress, it's going to take a lot of work. But this is step one: is giving our bargaining team the power to really fight for us and to be able to carve out our corner in this industry. Because if not, it's not going to be given to us. So I look forward to it. I think that it's a moment to step up for those who don't have the ability to step up on their own. And you know, I think it's a call to arms, and I think we're ready.
So why is a strike authorization vote important? What does it do?
Well, I think a strike authorization vote is the biggest tool in the toolbox that the negotiating team can have as leverage. I've been a part of 3 different IPA bargaining sessions. One I was in wages and working conditions, like as a consultant, and then the last 2 I was at the table. And I can tell you 2 truths. One is nobody wants a strike. They do not take that responsibility lightly when they get the authorization vote. And the second thing is that it's very, very easy to be incredibly overwhelmed with what the other side throws at us. The rollbacks that they want, the new mind-bending pay structures that they want to introduce, you know, all of the things that they come at you. And so the importance of the strike authorization vote is that it narrows our focus and our, I suppose, commitment, you know, so that we can move ahead with a clear intention in mind, as opposed to being overwhelmed by the process of negotiation.
Anyone else on why a strike authorization vote is so important?
Well, I think it gives the team, the leaders in that place of responsibility and vision. The authorization gives them the backing that tells them that I'm moving forward and my people are behind me. Sorry, excuse me. I'm moving forward and the people are behind me, and here we go.
Yeah.
I'm tough and rough and hard to bluff.
Okay, we're getting that on a t-shirt immediately.
Yes,
But I do think there's something really, I love that, because it's not a bluff, right? The members have to be mobilized and organized to go. And we mean it, because we need to win this. And we need to have each other's back. And it's big, I've got your back energy, a strike authorization vote. It kind of puts one arm around your right, your left, you move together as a membership, and you really show all categories that we can all lift each other up through something like this. We can all get ourselves across the finish line, but only truly together. It's never about the 1% when it comes to this type of collective action and the gains that are required. We have to do this together. Tat, did you want to add something?
Well, I would say that it also feels like it calls in other actions that have happened, other strikes that have taken place, and the change that they have elicited. It connects the community much bigger than just the acting community. It connects to like the nurses union. It can, like, one of the things I remember, and it like still makes me emotional, but like being on the picket with SAG, we were right across the street from the nurses and the nurses would like cheer for us and we would cheer for them, and they would join us and we would join them. And it's like that level of labor connection is so deep. And I think that when, you know, we call a strike authorization vote, or that's on the table, you're also alerting the people that we're potentially striking against that we're in cahoots with everyone, you know, everyone. And you've seen how this has happened over there with the airplane pilots, and you've seen
Air
how
Canada,
this has happened
yeah.
with the nurses union and with the auto workers. Like it like brings up all of that with us. So there's like power outside of us even that is called in to hold us strong.
It gives us a sense of legitimacy, right? As artists, it's easy to summarily dismiss us, right? Just as, you know, we are just actors, we are just, you know, people. It's easy to do that, but when they see that we can organize and we can rally and we are coming prepared for a fight and we're willing to lay everything on the line for it, they have to come to the table with a different mentality, you know. Mm-hmm. And that in and of itself is worth the price of admission. So we've got to at least be able to walk into these negotiations saying we are well organized, we are appraised of what we're fighting for and what we're up against, and we're here for it, you know, or else we won't get anywhere because there's so much at stake.
I also think it's a really it's a very unprecedented, very specific, very big time in our own union. If we look at the resilience of our membership alone, we've come through the pandemic and kept going. We began our lockout, which is, you know, pushing 900 days, our commercial lockout. So we have an entire, you know, 5,000 to 9,000 members of our union affected by the lockout moving into the strikes down south. And now here we are, the lockout is still continuing, and now we're bargaining. So the membership has really, the engagement, people are awake and they're showing up. I feel like in waves, they're just coming out. And I think, as Tat said, it's connected to, we've seen people calling for strike authorizations, the WGC, Border Services, TTC, CN Rail, most recently with the Air Canada pilot strike, where all of those were avoided, but the supermajority authorization vote was huge. What do we think this shows us, not just as performers, but us as creative laborers, as workers, about the labor movement in Canada right now?
Well, it feels like the labor movement is having a moment of reunification and fortification. And I think that with every strike authorization vote that has been called by the various unions and how that has consequently averted strikes, it's just like a positive reinforcement that being part of a union is a really good thing. And that strength will only grow, and the message that it sends to employers will only be heard louder and louder. I think it's a really strong time, and hopefully we can continue this trend.
Yeah, it really is. It almost feels like a tipping point.
Yeah.
That we've been taking advantage of for way too long. We've been allowing these big, noisy, powerful decision makers about their money, you know, kind of rule the road. And I think we're all waking up and saying, no, you couldn't get anywhere without us. You know, and I think our back's getting up. I mean, all across the board, all over the place. It's a time to say something.
I think COVID highlighted that collective care is a really important thing, and that it is deeply lacking in so many corporate institutions and structures of workplace safety. All of this stuff comes up, so becomes so highlighted when you're facing something like that, like the pandemic, which is an ongoing safety issue for many performers performers, not only with disabilities, but also people who would appear to have normal health. Long COVID is a real thing. I think what this has highlighted to me is that, the collective is important, and that it's so vital for us to all be together in something to protect everybody, or else we can't do it on our own,
Right.
and so I think that's like been a factor too in like highlighting the difference between just how people are treated and how people are protected and taken care of. And I think people are aware of it now in a different, more kind of visceral way.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also, I mean, I guess we can just have a free form conversation, right, Amy? Because
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
because just following up what Tatiana is saying, what that strikes for me in my heart is the idea that it's simply we're not going to take it, and in a way we have a recent precedent that shows that we're not going to take it from our brother union, sister union, who went on strike, and the employers suffered too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They suffered. It wasn't about us saying that we, as Tantoo said, we're valuable in the process of telling stories, and then the employers going, yeah, you're not that valuable. Yeah, we were pretty valuable, and their back ultimately was up against the wall because we refused to give them service. And because that precedent just happened, a strike authorization vote just has much more resonance, like it has more importance, because it's a real thing that could happen, will not happen, whatever it is, but it's real. It's not a theoretical idea, I don't know how I got to that from what you just said, Tab.
No, I feel, but that's
I love
perfect
it.
because so a great question that comes up a lot is what if I don't support a strike authorization vote?
Mm.
So what if you're a member who says I don't support that?
Well, watch you on AI then.
Well, I just think it's important to remember that supporting a strike authorization vote doesn't mean that you're supporting a strike. It doesn't mean that we're going to go on strike, right? It just means that we are arming our negotiating team with like we're putting a suit of armor on them that will hold, right, in the throes of battle. That's a crazy metaphor, but it's the truth, right? It doesn't mean you're saying, yeah, guys, go in there and screw up the negotiation and work for another 6 months. We're just going in there saying we're not bluffing, we're not messing around, we're serious. It's time for a course correction, and we're willing once again to go to the wall for it. So it doesn't have to mean that you're hitting DEFCON 5 by authorizing a strike mandate.
And the thing that made me the most nervous, and it's because I don't know anything about it, is AI. And what a tool it is for those who don't want to spend money on us. And that's a lot of what this strike is about, is because we have to protect ourselves, we have to carry our dignity, and we have a responsibility as a world of artists, because we are saying we represent the human experience, and that's a valuable thing. And I think, and I hope and consider that what a strike can do is put us in the driver's seat of our own world. And I think by the time the strike was done here with SAG, ACTRA, there was a greater sense of respect for ourselves and what we do. It was just kind of, really unstated, but it was an energetic thing that I felt like I was picking up amongst the people, to say, yes, we have honor. What we do has responsibility, and look at us. We do it all over. We do it well as best we can, and to excellence.
It's so imperative have that in place beforehand, because like everybody here has been saying, we will be taken more seriously. There's much more concentrated commitment to fighting for the things we need, and that the leadership has our approval, has our go to represent us the way we need to be represented, which is strongly and firmly.
And we have to come in so foundationally built to support what the membership will need. And so, yes, we have the proposals. Yes, we have the team. We have all our ducks in order, but really we need the membership, because we need the rank and file to be ready to go, because that is the last piece of bargaining. That's the formidable piece of bargaining. Because really, without us, right, they can only go so far. You can only move so far at the table until you know you need that last piece, which is in fact us. So I think that's one of the most important reasons to authorize the strike vote. I appreciate all of you. This has been really, really informative, and I think helpful. I think it's really inspiring to hear you all speak. So thank you for your time.
It's so nice to talk about this stuff, because again, it elicits that feeling of like we're in a community and we're not pitted against each other. We're not competing for something. We're like building something collectively, like you were saying, Tantoo. And like even just these discussions remind me of why we do what we do. And I just am very grateful to the bargaining committee and everybody who's like fighting for us and fighting for our collective. It's amazing. For all of you.
And that's a really good point to keep in mind, is that the people who have stepped up to do this work for all of us, they're not doing it for any grandiose notions other than to protect themselves and us, and to fight the good fight. And they deserve our thanks and gratitude for sure.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you either have to speak up or shut up, right? Even if you're speaking up is just authorizing this mandate, that's a loud voice, and it contributes to the collective, and it tells us that we have solidarity, which once again is the key word here. It's what we need to move forward with in order to make any progress, in order to secure our futures. We need this solidarity. We need to move forward as a collective in order to get there.
Your voice is your vote.